OTB, open to buy, merchandise planning, inventory forecasting, demand planning, forecasting plan, it's all one in the same. Open to buy basically tells you how much you need to spend in new inventory in order to make your sales happen. It considers your upcoming sales and your upcoming inventory and your upcoming purchase orders. It guarantees that you'll have enough inventory in the store to make your customers happy. Open to buy does a lot of things, but it really is just a simple equation. It's expressed in retail dollars, is how I recommend doing it. And it's comprised of both actual and forecasted amounts in sales, markdowns, inventory, and purchase orders. Notice that open to buy is expressed in retail dollars. It's important that we think about our store and our inventory in retail dollars just like our customers do. We have a tendency to devalue stock or kind of brush off a problem if we think about it in cost dollars. Planning at retail means that we're tracking sales at retail, inventory at retail, purchase orders, and even receiving all in retail dollars. Planning at retail allows us to budget for markdowns and hold ourselves accountable for markdowns and discounts. We don't want to take too many because then obviously we're losing margin dollars, and we don't want to take too little because then inventory gets stagnant. When we plan in cost dollars, we completely lose that element of tracking markdowns because markdowns are taken off of retail pricing. And if we use cost, well, there's no element of markdowns because we're skipping that portion completely. Lastly, we don't plan in units because we lose all of the accountability from markdowns and being able to hold margin. Also, unit planning can be difficult if you don't have a consistent price on a product. It's easy to get overstocked or understocked, especially when you're looking at something that has a broad variety of prices that you offer. I think the easiest way in thinking of how to figure open to buy is at first not to get caught up in the retail, like the algebra, not in the formula. So let's think about how inventory changes over the course of the month. You start with inventory at the beginning of the month. You have a certain amount that you start with, and you're going to end with a certain amount too. But what happens in between the beginning of the month and the end of the month? Well, you have sales, which decrease inventory. You have markdowns, which are also a deduction. You also have receiving that comes into the store. And so it makes your stock level go up. So those are the ebbs and flows of how inventory changes over time. Now, when we go to figure and use the equation of open to buy, we start with our beginning of month inventory as a positive number. We take away sales, we take away markdowns, and we take away our planned end of month inventory, which is our target, our goal, our forecast. And those four elements combined equal the inflow or the amount of product that we need to receive in order for us to reach our end of month inventory goal. I don't know about you, but I'm getting flashbacks to my freshman algebra class in high school. So we have a goal of how much we want to receive within that month in order to get us through sales, markdowns, and to achieve our end of month inventory plan. The next thing we have to consider are the open purchase orders that you've already written. This could be pre-season orders that you placed 10 months ago. It could be an ASAP order that you just placed yesterday and it's shipping, it's on its way to you. So if you've already committed those dollars to receive or to inflow into the store, then that's something that we need to consider in the overall open to buy formula. So the last step is taking away purchase orders and deducting that from the total amount of inflow that our goal is to receive for that month. When we do that balance, we end up with an open to buy number. If our inflow, let's say our inflow is 100 and our open purchase orders are 75, so that means that we have 25 open to buy. 25,000, let's say, of what we need to spend in order to make our end of month inventory plan. So a positive number in open to buy means that you have available dollars to spend on new purchase orders. What happens if your total inflow was 100, but you have 150 on order? Then 100 minus 150 equals minus 50. So you're actually overbought, quote unquote, overbought for that month by 50K, let's say. Another way to phrase that is that you're going to land and end the end of month inventory inflated by 50K. You're going to start the next month or end this month with $50,000 more in inventory than you were originally planning for. How does being $50,000 overbought really relate to the store? Well, because we're in retail dollars, $25,000 is what it costs at cost dollars in wholesale. And so you have received 25K extra in invoices that you're going to have to pay. So that's 25K that we did not put into the budget that's going to be taken out of the bank account, and it can't be used on expenses. It can't be used on payroll or rent. It has to go towards paying the brand. So that's how unexpected payables can really cause a rift in people's cash flow over the course of the season. When creating a merchandise plan, it needs to be done by category. Each category has its own seasonality, its own algorithms, its own natural way of unfolding as the year progresses. And each category needs to be presented as its own little profit center where we have and operate it like a P&L, like its own little business. Now we're really getting into the weeds. Merchandise plans are done on a monthly basis, and we're tracking both forecasted and actual and even historical values at retail for sales, markdowns, inventory, purchase orders, and open to buy. But the key thing is that we're planning it by month. The next consideration is the accuracy of your forecasted metrics, mainly pertaining to forecasted sales and forecasted markdowns. If your actual sales are much higher than your forecasted metrics, then you're going to need more inventory and more receiving than you really anticipated. If you miss sales, if actual sales are less than your planned metrics, then you're going to need less inventory in the grand scheme of things. If your predictions are accurate, then you're not having to make that many adjustments in your future purchase orders. The next consideration is how much you want to pre-season versus ASAP or at-once orders. So what I mean here is you might reserve 80% of your entire inflow budget and commit 80% of your dollars 10 months ahead of time when you write your pre-season orders. That means that you're reserving the other 20% of your budget or your inflow dollars to receive in season while the sales are happening live in the store. When you're live in the month, constant updates on your merchandise plan have to happen. Your trending sales, your receiving merchandise, converting POs into actual inventory in the store, markdowns are happening. All of these levers are changing all at once and constantly morphing where your inventory is going to end that month. But ultimately, having accurate sales forecasting, reasonable inventory targets, and a realistic idea of how your month is going to go is going to put your inventory plan in a really solid spot. So how do you know if you're in a good spot with your merchandise plan? Well, when it's done correctly, you're creating new sales that you weren't creating before because you have inventory at the right time and not for too long. You're controlling your inventory ownership, which also controls your payables and your invoices. You're creating cash flow because the sales are happening closer to the actual receiving and the actual paying of your invoice. You're tracking your buyer's accountability more closely because you have receiving targets, purchase order goals, inventory goals. So buyers are inherently more accountable with an inventory planning process. Your decisions are also based on data. We have all of this data by month, by metric, by category, and the devil's in the details. Open to buy, in my opinion, is definitely not overrated. It creates a harmonious environment in the shop across marketing, sales, buying, payables, accounting, bookkeeping. All of the people that are invited to work at your company can become a little bit more intertwined with each other in a positive way by following an open to buy forecast. Not planning your receipts is also risky. We lose track of what we don't measure. Receipts and payables can get out of control if we're not tracking them and if we don't make goals for ourselves. You might try merchandise planning if your sales are not covering your monthly invoices and payables. If those get out of control for too long, you're going to start being on credit hold with your brands, your market share is going to shrink, and you're going to have unhappy shoppers. You actually have cash that's left over after you pay invoices and after you pay payroll, after you pay rent. There's actually net cash, net operating cash left over that either ultimately ends up in your pocket because it's profit for the year, or you're using it to build up for larger payables. Planning done right means that your sales are growing over time, you have higher margins, you're operating leaner and meaner, and cash flow is flowing. There's a lot of features and benefits associated with planning. You have a 12-month forecast by category, which helps you budget for pre-seasons, and any balance that you leave open in your budget dollars means that you have money to spend in season and respond to what's selling. That budget that you leave on the table on purpose means that you can reinvest in bestsellers and fill-in sizes. The best thing about a merchandise plan is doing the month-to-date updates and trending your sales, updating your sales projections so you end up receiving the right amount, meaning you know exactly how to revise or cancel your orders, or you know exactly how much to go in ASAP. Holding yourself accountable with an inventory plan means that you're prioritizing the need to turn and burn and reinvest product. Nothing is aging or collecting dust. It's all making you money and contributing to your GMROI. With an inventory plan, you're removing emotion out of your business decisions. We're looking at data and we're making decisions based on facts, based on sales, based on what the company and what the category needs right now in this moment in time. Inventory planning also means that this is a regular practice. You're reviewing your sales, you're reviewing your orders on a regular basis. All of these little decisions add up. Morphing our business over time, making changes based in data, and having accurate forecasting will make our business profitable in the long run. It can be a little overwhelming and a little daunting to start the process, but inventory planning is worth the effort. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Carrie Watson. I'm the founder of Outside Looks, a retail consultancy that helps independent specialty retailers plan and forecast their inventory.